Wisconsin wine guy, and I'm back again with another wine review. But let me first pause and say this: my Adidas. Now I'm doing a throwback. I'm sporting my Adidas. Let me go here. My Adidas jacket here today, a throwback. Paying homage to Run DMC. That was part of my time. You couldn't go wrong with that. So I like to every now and then do that classic throwback. This is actually not the original style, of the Adidas. This is more kind of, modern, funky look, but I do have the Adidas coat with just a simple white stripe going down the sleeve. So I wanted to go ahead and do that throwback. And as a shout out to Run DMC, thanks for all those years of great music and great memories for myself. Now, for those who are new, as I said, I'm your Wisconsin wine guy, and I do wine reviews of wines I like to call everyday drinking wines. These are wines that you can find at your grocery store, liquor store, wine shop, wherever you shop for wines. And again, I do these reviews to help you make that choice of what to buy. Too many times we're going down the aisle looking at all these Chardonnays, all these Cabernets, all these Pinot Grigio, all these wines, and trying to decide which one to buy. I tell you what. You check out Wisconsin Wine Guy, may have reviewed it already. So it helps you decide which wine to buy. Again, these are my opinions, and I give you this opinion with this very simple process, the infamous thumb rating system. Thumbs up, saying it's a pretty solid wine. Can't go wrong with it. Makes a great everyday drinking wine. Good price to value. 3/4. Says, you know what, that is a wine that I would serve at my party. If I'm on a budget and I'm serving wine for a lot of people, I would serve that wine at my party. Okay? Halfway. Something about that wine didn't work for my palate. But it doesn't make it a bad wine. It just didn't work for my palate, and I'll tell you why it didn't work for my palate. Thumbs down. That's always an easy one, right? And again, any of the wines that I do, that I give a system that you may disagree with, I want you to disagree. I want you to taste the wine. Let me know what your opinions are in the comments when you comment on the videos. And every now and then there's the infamous double thumbs up. Double thumbs up saying that wine is exceptional. It's a wine that, you know what, I'm going to buy a few bottles and I'm going to age and taste that wine over time. Okay? So be on the lookout for those double thumbs up. Let's get into it. We're going to do Ruffino. I think I've done Ruffino brand before. It's an Italian wine brand. I know I've done some of the stills. I can't remember if I've done sparkling, but I'll do a check out and see. And for those who are new again, I don't go back and look at what I thought about the wine before until after I shot the video. Okay, and post it, and then I'll attach a copy of that video or a link to that video to the current video so you can see the comparisons. Okay, so Ruffino, their sparkling Prosecco, all right, and this is coming out of Italy, up near the Veneto area, Prosecco region in the video area in Italy, and this is coming in 11% alcohol. The grapes here, which I found interesting. The grapes here is going to be a blend of Glera, which oftentimes is used in unison with Prosecco, the region, name of the wine. They also use it as a grape, but now we know that the grape is actually Glera. So Prosecco, Glera, it's a grape, has a little bit of Pinot Grigio and a little bit of Chardonnay. It's like 15% split between Chardonnay and Pinot Grigio. The rest of it is going to be the Glera or Prosecco grape. So now, you see here, I do have another setup here. We'll get to that in a moment here. I don't want my ice to melt. But we're going to give this a taste and let you know what I think of. Again, 11% alcohol. This is retailed regular price at $15.99. You may can find it on sale at $12.99. Okay, let's give it a taste. Let's see if I preserved it. All right. Now, Proseccos, you'll find, will be a lot less fizzy than some of your more traditional sparkling wines. Okay, most Proseccos are made in the Charmat method, meaning it's made in a large tank, produce the wine, whereas most sparkling wines or champagnes are made in a bottle. But doesn't make it the quality any less because it's not produced in a bottle. Okay, let's get that a pour. And what I like about Proseccos is it's so crisp, so refreshing. Look at that foam. It has a nice little, we're going to protect those bubbles because I want to sip on some of this later on tonight. Protect those bubbles. That gives you a nice foam, in the mouth, subtle richness coming in. But I enjoy Proseccos, because it's my go-to sparkling wine in the summertime. Now, I may have some in the fall, but it's my go-to wine in the summertime because it is light and crisp and refreshing. So here we go. On the nose. I mean, you saw the foam. You can see tiny bubbles in there, right? tiny bubbles, tiny pin bubbles. You know, normally I use a flute, you know, but for the wine tasting, so you can see it better, I like to use the wine glass, or I should say for the wine reviews. Now, on the nose, citrus, of course, apple for me. So a little lemon and apple on the nose here. Now for the taste. Now, for sparkling wine, I tend not to do a rich. I tend to just let it rest on my palate because I want to feel the bubbles. And I also still want to make sure there's some acidity to it. Don't want a flat tasting, non-acidic sparkling wine. Who wants that, right? Here we go. All right. So I have to distinguish between the bubbles and the acidity. Bubble-wise, you get the nice little pin feelings, needle pins on your palate. That's coming from the bubbles. But then once you let that relax across your palate and you get to the wine, see, my mouth is watering. That's the acidity. Two entirely different things. Now for the actual taste. So that part is good. The actual taste, again, is just like a smell. Apple, citrus. You know, it has a nice, you know, when you bite into an apple, say more like a Gala or a Honey Crisp, you kind of get that taste. You know, so it has that nice fruit apple taste to it, blended with that citrus, which is part of making up that acidity. Okay, but very nice, subtle foam. You know, and I like some where it can be real foamy in your mouth, but subtle foam to give that little richness. But very nice, pleasant, easy to drink. So if you are a dry wine drinker or a dry sparkling wine drinker, looking for something fun like I do, I think this would be fantastic for that. If you are typically a Moscato drinker and you want to go for something that's not dry like some of the brutes, but something that's kind of in between, this will be a good selection for you. Good with mixes, okay? You know, mimosas, blinis, whatever it may be, but I got a mix I'm going to do here today for you. So now let's rate this on its own. So Wisconsin wine, guys, I'm going to give the Ruffino a thumbs up. It's pretty solid, very solid Prosecco. Can't go wrong with it. I like the fruit nuances to it. I like the crispness. I like the thirst quenching abilities. I like the way the bubbles scrub my palate. You know, so thumbs up for the Ruffino Prosecco. Give that a try. And let's turn over to the cocktail we got here, you know, because it's so versatile with Proseccos. So I got some ice. What I have here is the Domaine Canton. This is going to be the ginger liqueur. I mean, if you've never had this, you know, you are missing out on a ginger liqueur. So I have some of that. It's one of my favorite liqueurs when it comes to ginger. So I'm going to put some ice in the bottle here. Toss in a lemon slice. Okay. Give that a little toss here. A little crush. All right, just one little lemon slice in there. Then I'm not going to measure, but let's say this will be an ounce, okay? Do an ounce of my ginger liqueur. Down in there, okay? And then we're going to top this off with the Ruffino Prosecco, okay? A very simple drink that I want to say that I just created. It may be a recipe out there for this, but I was thinking about this, you know, I'm like, wow, that's going to be good together. So I'm going to call this a ginger liqueur Prosecco Spritz. Okay, that's a mouthful, right? So ginger liqueur Prosecco Spritz. You see I topped it off. Very, very simple drink. Get that a swirl, mix up that ginger. And again, I topped it off with the Prosecco. So the Prosecco in this case is probably maybe about 3 ounces, 3-4 ounces of Prosecco. Here we go. I can smell that lemon as I put it to my nose. Wow! Talk about a thirst quencher. Bam! I score on this one. I'll put the ratios that I did down in the bottom of the description. Man, this is going to be my hot new summer drink right here, boy. Wow. And that ginger liqueur gives just that balance of sweetness, and the lemon, you know, squeezing some of that lemon juice in there with the rind, balances all out with the acidity. This is fantastic. I'm gonna give that a double thumbs up. So to Wisconsin Wine Guy saying, as always, let your palate be the guide when selecting your wine. You gotta give this a try. The Domaine Canton, if you never had it. I'll see you next time. I'm gonna sit on the deck and enjoy the rest of this bottle. As you can see, this is almost gone too. Ciao!